James, the producer, emailed, probably 2 weeks ago, and was like, "Isn't this crazy? This played literally 1 year ago, this clip." So I watch it, and I'll say this, during some of our debates, I question like, Dave, he doesn't really know. He doesn't really get it. He's really missing the mark here on this one. He doesn't see it. But on this clip specifically, as I watched it again a year later, I thought, he's brilliant. He's like, who was like the old psychic that was like the 1-800 number, Miss Clea, or is that what it was?
She got arrested, but she didn't know it was coming, so she wasn't a psychic.
I was watching. I was like, is Dave psychic? Okay, so what we're gonna play for you is the clip that
he's
played.
Just psycho.
That's maybe both. That played. It played April 27th of 2021. Okay, we got to get back. Everyone, get back in your mindset of 2021, of early 2021. Okay, stuff is still here. You're still wearing a mask on airplanes. COVID was still it was still kind of around, the idea of it. Gas just started going up. Car prices, I do not think at this point were outrageous. No. The car thing had not happened yet. Again,
Biden was barely in office.
Yes. So again, we are sitting 1 year ago, basically today, when this segment aired. So we're gonna play just a little bit of it, and we're gonna watch Mrs. Clea do her magic. Have you felt this ever? I mean,
I've never seen it like this exactly.
Yeah.
But what we are going to see out of this that you've never seen, your generation's never seen, is inflation. Inflation, the components that make up the inflation index, housing is one of them. It's the biggest part of inflation. And when housing shoots up and oil shoots up, and oil has shot up too.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
And you look at the gas pump. It's doubled.
Oh, I know. Filled up my minivan 2 days ago. I thought, nobody's
talking about it, but the gas pump doubles and housing goes up a bunch. Then all of a sudden you're going to see stuff like I saw in the 70s and 80s, which was double-digit inflation, where stuff's going up 10, 15% a year.
Man. And
inflation was out of control, and the politicians, it took some real strong politicians to do away with it. It was out of control.
How do they do away with it?
Well, I credit Ronald Reagan. I'm just putting the brakes on, because it was out of control under Carter, and he comes in and shifted economic policy and just started opening up, doing away with regulation, opening up the markets. Because if you can flood the market with supply, it slows down the feeding frenzy. Because if you can get it everywhere, there's no scarcity.
Sure.
Then the prices start to settle. If there's an oversupply, prices go down. If there's an undersupply, prices go up. Because there's people chasing it.
Sure,
right?
Supply and demand.
Half the number of people chasing it as there are. You got 2 houses for sale for every buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of a sudden prices stabilize, start to go down, or at least quit shooting through the roof. So the out of control upward inflation. So we're probably going to see some actual inflation out of this, which we've not seen in 2 decades. You watch these interest rates go up with inflation.
Yeah.
It'll shut this housing market down.
I was going to say the correlation between inflation and the interest rates.
If you go from 3 to 6. This housing market will freeze like a deer in the headlights. It'll just stop. People just stop buying. They'll just back up and wait. And you're going to see some of that back and forth now. It's going to be a little rocky, a little volatile. But it won't. This feeding frenzy that you've got right this second is not going to continue.
We were talking about the housing market going into that. Okay, so you predicted inflation. You were like, inflation's going to happen. Your generation's never seen it before, but it will happen. And I remember thinking, oh, doomsday Dave. I don't know if it'll happen. Inflation has happened. And then you predicted that the interest rates for mortgages will go up, and now they're up to 5%. They've gone up in the last few months. So inflation hit, mortgage interest is going up. What's going to happen next? Are we heading for a recession? Predict the recession. Predict it right now. Are we going to a recession? But seriously, is that not crazy though
well, the signs were there. It's not. I'm not.
No, I know.
I'm not a prophet. The things were happening. The components of inflation were already kicking in. We were seeing prices jump through the roof on things, and the Biden administration, on the things it could do things about, wasn't. For instance, energy. The stuff at the gas pump is his fault. The other parts of inflation, the Republicans are trying to blame him for. It's not his fault. It's the pandemic's fault. It was a supply-demand curve thing. And so Fox News wearing Biden out, because they're trying to get GOP in at the midterms, right? So it's political on blaming him for it. But anyway, and we are probably going to see 6%. I said we go from 3 to 6 on mortgages,
Yeah.
and then I said the housing market would freeze like a deer in the headlights. It will. It won't go down. It's not going to be like 2008. I'm not predicting it to go down. But 2 years ago in 2022, we had a 32% increase in the cost of housing in America. The next year we had a 17% increase. The average increase over the years is about 4%. And the reason for that is very simple: shortage of houses.
New houses, yeah.
There's 10 buyers, 20 buyers for every house that's on the market. And when you've got those kinds of pressures, you're going to have an artificial inflation. It's a supply-demand curve inflation. It's not a thing. It's not a prosperity type inflation. It's not the economy's too heated up thing. But, when people slow down buying houses, it will slow down the rate of increase in houses. They're not going to go down. I'm going to wait on real estate values to come down. You're going to be dead before they come back down. They're not coming down. They're not going to go up at 32% a year.
Yeah,
and this idea of 400 people bidding on one house over the weekend stuff, that's going to go away. Because when you double the cost of interest, your payment on a $400,000 house goes up dramatically.
Sure. Okay, so yes, so those 2 percentage points is from 3% to 5%.
Yeah.
It's
devalued the bond market like 35%. The bond market is crashing with these increases in interest rates.
And the market has gone down.
The stock market has gone down.
Yes.
And that's because the economy is slowing. That's recessionary.
So the GDP came out.
Gross domestic product, which is
came out down over the first quarter.
And if it goes down 2 quarters in a row, it's a recession.
So we could be entering a recession at the end of this quarter if it continues to go down.
Yeah, we probably will.
And you think we'll probably hit a recession?
Yeah, I think we're in one. Yeah, I think we're right square in the middle of one. I don't know how long it'll last, but it depends on how long they keep monkeying with stuff in Washington.
Yeah.
But they could have done a lot to help the supply-demand curve stuff, like getting the ships off the ocean. When you got billions of dollars of goods sitting in the ocean waiting to come on shore and you can't get baby formula, that's a false thing caused by regulations and crap. Okay? Get the stuff out of the cartons and get it in the stores. It's not, and so there's some stuff that the policymakers and the politicians can actually do that it is their fault.
Okay, so the recession word is a scary word for a lot of people because last time we hit that was during the '08 crash, all of that, right? So you hear the word recession.
Recession simply means the economy is not producing as much goods and services as it used to.
And it can affect you.
Mainly it will affect your jobs because the businesses that are not growing do not hire. And businesses that are shrinking fire. They lay off. And it's not pandemic furloughs. They say, economics are bad. I have to show, we're laying you off permanently. That's what they'll do. And so there'll be some people losing jobs. So we've had this shortage of labor. We've got almost no unemployment right now.
So bizarre. It's like the weirdest.
It's the weirdest mix. It's a weird gumbo. And so, but the stock market is slowing because profits are down, because the economy is slowing, even though prices are up.
Yes, but people are not spending as much as they were even 6 months ago.
Right. We know that because the economy is shrinking.
Because there is not stuff to buy?
Not stuff to buy.
They're fearful?
I don't know.
Consumers pull back?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. But recession is not an emotional thing. And it's really, honestly, it's kind of a natural second step after a bizarre supply-demand inflation curve like this.
Yeah.
So
will inflation go down once the recession, or that's all?
Yeah.
It'll kind of work itself.
Inflation will go down when the supplies hit the market
again. When it comes back,
in each area. Stuff's going to stop shooting up when there's plenty of stuff.
Yes.
There's plenty of cars will go down. But there's still not plenty of cars. There's still a shortage.
Yeah.
So that's what's driving that. So inflation is not or recession is not a feeling. It is 2 consecutive quarters of a shrinking economy. And it's not a feeling. It is a thing that's going to happen though. This is the Ramsey Show.